Hi, I'm John Wallace, and I'm here to talk about digital TV. Many people ask, what is DTV? Well, it's digital television. You can pay for it via cable or satellite, or you can get it free directly from broadcast TV stations. A few years ago, when I was anchoring the local news, over-the-air viewers could only get maybe 7 or 8 channels. Well, now that broadcast TV stations are digital, there are more channels than ever. Over 45 free channels now in Fresno, and more are coming soon. Gone are the days of snowy and ghosting images. With broadcast DTV, all channels are crystal clear and they sound great. You can watch America's best classic TV shows, get all the major networks, plus local and world news, sports, foreign language, shopping, music video, and movie channels, absolutely free. When it comes to high definition, broadcast HD channels look better than paid TV services because broadcast stations don't compress their signals like cable and satellite, so their HD programming has higher resolution, more detail, and crisper pictures. Best of all, there are no monthly charges, ever, because broadcast DTV is a free service. How do you get the free broadcast DTV? Well, it's simple. If you have a newer digital TV or an older TV with a digital converter box, all you need is an antenna. Plug the antenna into your TV or converter box and then scan for channels. You may have to rotate your antenna just slightly to get the most channels. For best results, I recommend using a new aesthetically pleasing outdoor antenna. Just set up the antenna, scan, and watch. Affordable antenna kits are available as low as $35 and can be found on our website. You concerned about installing a new antenna? We can recommend a professional installer who will come to your home and get you completely set up for a reasonable fee. It's that simple. Visit freetvfresno.com to learn more about free DTV.
Hello, I'm John Wallace, and welcome to Connect with me on MeTV Fresno. Today, the man, the myth, the legend. Wait a minute. He's only 20 years old. How can that be? We've got Alex Tavlian from the Fresno Bee on the air, off the presses, coming up. 265-4331 in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
And welcome back. It is on the air, off the presses today. It's Monday here from the showroom floor at Ventura TV, and we've got Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee, a 20-year-old reporter that's actually leaving the Bee to go to school at UC Davis. Let's take a look at Alex in action doing his job. That is Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee in his outside office working with one of his co-workers at the Bee on a big story that's coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. It is regarding crime, it's regarding graffiti, homicides, murders. Just look for it in your local section or on the front page of the Bee here in the next couple of weeks. But let me tell you about Alex. He was born and raised in Fresno. He went to high school at Clovis West. He started at the Bee a couple of years ago in September of 2010. He went to Fresno City. He's now transferring to UC Davis. His major will be political science. He played volleyball in high school, but he is a terrific young reporter. He's learning from guys like George Hofstetter, learning from Bill McEwen, but in his own right, he's a journalist, he's a writer, he's only 20 years old. And one of the questions I want to ask Alex is, how is it that he's 20 years old and he's able to do what he does? An investigative reporter. He's doing an investigative piece, as I said, on the upswing in terms of graffiti and the upswing in crime, and that is related to the homicides and murders in this city. He talked to Mayor Swearingen. He talked to Police Chief Jerry Dyer. He's been working on the story for the past couple of months, and your phone calls here are very important. 265-4331. You're watching Connect with me. We're going to be back in a moment with Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee right after a brief timeout. Stay tuned.
Taking care of laundry taking too much of your time? Have you become a missing mom? With a new fast, efficient washer and dryer from Ventura TV Video Appliance, you'll spend more of your day the way you want.
This Amana Super Capacity Washer Dryer Pair is now just $6.99, and this heavy-duty Maytag Super Capacity Washer Dryer Pair is only $8.99.
Don't spend your life on laundry. Upgrade today at Ventura TV Video Appliance and save.
And welcome back. I'm John Mallos. To connect with me today, it is On the Air, Off the Presses with Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee. He's a young reporter, 20 years old. Alex, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, John. Really appreciate it.
Good to have you.
Yeah, great to be here.
Let me ask you right off the bat. You're 20 years old. Most people your age are sitting there with their phones. They're texting. They're on the internet with Facebook, Twitter. They're out playing with their friends or doing whatever they're doing. And here you are in a very highly respected position with the Fresno Bee and a terrific writer. How did this happen?
Well, you know, I started off in high school. We're writing for my high school newspaper. And
Clovis West?
Clovis West, yeah, the Vantage at Clovis West. And after a couple of years there, I was able to work for the Bee in high school, writing for their teen section. And, you know, after some time, you know, after I was done with high school, I kind of moved on and I was able to kind of keep in touch with some of the people at the Bee and suffice.
Did they contact you, or did you contact them?
I contacted them. You know, like any college student, you're looking for a job, and you know, the Bee had some openings that I was interested in, and I went after a job in the sports department actually, and I wound up with probably a better gig at the end of the day because I've had the opportunity to cover quite a bit of a lot of different issues around the city. In my position.
Now you've got George Hostetter that works there. He's been there forever.
Yeah,
he wears the hat.
He's a legend.
He's the legend.
He's the legend. I'm no legend.
I know. Well, that was a joke at the time.
Yeah,
I was just kind of throwing a little humor there, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then you've got Bill McEwen. He's been there forever. Oh, yeah. So how is it working with those two guys? Were you intimidated when you first walked in?
I was intimidated of Bill mostly just because he's huge. He's a gigantic guy, and I'm 6'2", and I'm afraid of Bill McEwen. But he's also a weightlifter. That scares me a little bit too. But you know, these guys they're geniuses, and they're very smart guys. And
yeah.
You know, while our commenting section at the Bee is not forgiving of them, I think that they're just very smart guys.
I'm gonna take a quick phone call here, Alex. Good morning. You're on with Alex Tavlian. What's your question?
My question is, why do they still pay people that's done a crime? They be on administrative pay if they done a crime.
I'm assuming you're talking about police officers. Is that right?
Police, teachers, anyone that have a title.
Right, and I think the reason why a lot of departments put their staff on administrative pay is because they have to go through a thorough investigation of, say for example, it's an officer-involved shooting. Usually they have to investigate it before they can either fire them or take them off the payroll. Usually it just comes down to investigating incidences before people are able to actually, get off the payroll or stay on the payroll. It's kind of a deliberation.
Okay, but if they found guilty, how do they get that money back?
Honestly, I'm not exactly sure. It kind of varies between departments. Many departments don't engage in, don't really take money back because it's already been paid as part of the services rendered for a lot of the workers who are part of the police department or schools. It's just the way that things work. I mean, consider it somewhat of a form of severance pay. I mean, it's very similar to that in the fact that it's pay for services rendered, even though they may not be working. They're still on, they're still on contract or on the payroll. It's just the way the world works, and that's just the way it is.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're very
Thanks
welcome.
for the phone call. I appreciate it. Let me ask you a couple of things, Alex, before we get into the story that you're working on and have been working on for a few months.
Right.
And that is the story over the weekend. James Holmes, of course,
right.
In Aurora, Colorado, 24 years old. In a display of, I don't know what, anger, just despicable act of killing 12 people, injuring 77. Here he is in court early this morning in Aurora, Colorado. Let's roll the tape and find, whoops, that's the wrong tape.
That's the wrong tape.
Yep, that's not it, Arthur. Sorry about that. We're looking for James Holmes, if we could get out of this.
I promise I was not in the theater in Aurora, Colorado.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But anyway, what do you make of this? What do you make of this guy? Is he a monster?
I think a lot of it. There's a lot of unanswered questions. I think that I think the biggest question is why. A lot of people just don't know why he did the things that he did.
And there he is in court.
Of course, yeah, with the yellow hair and the orange hair. Excuse me.
Right.
I think the biggest question that hasn't been answered is why he did the things that he did. I also think that there's this kind of issue. You know, a lot of people involved in similar instances have usually taken their life. He's still alive, and that's.
What do you make of that? Is he an attention seeker?
Possibly. You know, and again, there's a lot that we don't know about him. You know, we know he's a smart guy. I mean, the guy was a PhD, he was a doctorate candidate. I mean, that's a very big deal. And someone like that, we haven't seen a mass murderer quite as, at the intellectual level of this guy. At least, it appears that way. But I think that it's safe to say that we don't know enough about who he is, about what he's doing, and why he did it. But from what I read in the first few hours, it seems that there's some disturbing issues connecting the film, The Dark Knight Rises, to this guy. I mean, he was claiming he was the Joker when he was arrested. They found a Batman mask near his apartment. I mean, there are some serious connections.
Is this a story that you'd like to cover, if you had the opportunity?
Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that it's a huge story. It's a very big story because it goes to a lot of varying issues. But also, no, in the fact that it's just greatly traumatic. If I was living in that community, I would be just as affected as anyone else. I've covered a lot of different stories that are similar, but there's nothing that can compare to a mass murder quite like that,
right,
where the whole community is affected.
And in the Penn State sanctions today, $60 million fine, 4 years on probation, no scholarships, no postseason.
Right.
Your take on that story?
I think it's worse than a death penalty that the NCAA can impose, where they eliminate you from competition for a whole year, because it really puts a huge dent in the program. It allows students to get out of the football program immediately. They can leave, they can transfer. So really, this puts Penn State at a huge disadvantage. But maybe rightly so, given all that's gone on with Penn State's administration and the football, and the administration of the football team. It probably is. It's the right. It fits the crime.
And the statue being taken down of Joe Paterno yesterday, is that the right move? Is that the right thing to do? Do you think?
I think after a lot of the facts have come out, I think yes. I think they have to kind of move on, and I feel like having Joe Paterno still there still inflicts some pain in the fact that this guy let a lot of things slide, even though he had a lot of knowledge of it. It just should not have gone the way that it did.
We want to continue our conversation with Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee. 265-4331 is the number. And in our next segment, we're going to talk about the story that you've been working on for the past couple of months, and ask you about how you go about gathering your facts and information. It's a big story that's going to come out shortly in the Fresno Bee regarding crime and graffiti here in the city of Fresno. Back in just a moment.
We're a TV appliance center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And welcome back. It's On the Air, Off the Presses. Alex Tavlian. Now, you've been working on this story now for the better part of what, couple of months?
Yeah, 2 months. 2 months I've been working on this story with my colleague Ezra Romero, and we've been, suffice it to say, researching like mad.
What's the gist of the story?
The story has to focus on a recent wave in violent crime amongst the graffiti and tagging community, and kind of understanding how the city's dealing with this, and why this is happening, and how it got here.
All right, let's take a look at a piece of video here that we shot on Friday at a scene here. Tell us what we're looking at, Alex.
I was speaking with Kirby Smith. He is the artist liaison at the Chris M. Sorensen studio, and for the better part of a few years, they have been dealing with rampant graffiti on a large segment of the building and a wall that's attached to the building, and really it's been horrendous because they've allowed a lot of people to paint murals, but now taggers are coming in and covering murals and what's widely considered
like
art.
This one here,
like this one right here of Chris Sorensen himself, and so they're having to really fight back, and they haven't had enough funding to really do so. But recently, a lot of what we found out was there is some violence that is starting to occur nearby the studio, which is definitely not good, considering they have been pretty forgiving of taggers and regular what we've called muralist people, who are really what we would consider artists that use spray paint as a medium.
And this is some of the destruction here,
oh, yeah,
right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
there is about there's hundreds of feet of one of the walls that has this kind of graffiti where they've just covered murals, and then there's pieces of the monikers as tags covering other tags. I mean, it's just absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, well, I want to show that wall that you're talking about,
Right.
because I took some video of it
Right.
on Friday.
Right.
So if we could cue that up and just roll it and show the wall that Alex is talking about, and there it is.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps going on. It just doesn't stop. Originally I had asked how long that wall was, and the answer I basically got was we have no idea. And I kind of started to pace it out, and it seems like it's about 200 to 250 feet, and that's not even including a fence that they have attached to the building. So I mean, it's very long. And that fence right at the end on the left-hand side of your screen, they have finally kind of fought back to keep that fence as clean as possible, but it doesn't really. It just starts almost immediately as soon as you hit the wall.
Right. And the fact of the matter is, okay, graffiti is one thing, but when graffiti turns to violence,
Oh, yeah.
that's another, and that's kind of the gist of your story,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, and you're talking about gunfire?
Yeah, we're talking about
Murders,
gunfire, murders,
homicides?
homicides, rampant shootings. I mean, it has gotten to the point where, when we go to a press conference, there's two questions you would ask. You'd ask, is it a gang-related shooting? Now you're asking, is it a tagger-related shooting? That's how important these kinds of incidents have become, to the point in which we're actually focusing on, well, are these guys, is this part of the recent wave of crime that's related to graffiti?
Now, where do you start your research? How do you determine who to talk to, where to begin?
Right.
Does one avenue lead you to another sometimes?
Usually, I would say in this kind of story, you start off with law enforcement, because they have done years worth of research, and they understand the problems that the community is facing front and center, because they deal with it on a day in and day out basis. So we really began looking at, how is the police department handling this? What are the issues they're facing? What did they do in the past? And how do they approach this
Right.
every day?
Now, you talked to the mayor and the police chief,
Yes.
Jerry Dyer.
Yes. Yeah, and both of them offered very interesting outlooks on how to deal with this problem, how to focus on, dealing with the increase in graffiti, also the increase in violence. And I would give you more information, but
No,
I want
I know.
people have to read the paper. I mean, I gotta make sure they read the paper.
But I mean, you've been working on this for 2 months, so you're not going to give too much away. But we want to kind of tease it and promote
Oh, yeah, of
it.
course,
In fact,
of
that,
course.
and I want to get back to, as we take a look at another piece of video, and you can tell us what we're looking at inside. It's the Sorensen art gallery, I call it, I guess,
Right,
kind
yeah.
of inside. And you're talking to Kirby there, taking notes,
Oh, yeah,
doing
of
your
course.
job, but this sounds like the kind of in-depth reporting
Right.
that, say, a George Hofstadter would do, or perhaps a Bill McEwen would do.
Right.
And I harbor back to the question, you're only 20.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you learn how to do this? I mean, for some people it takes years
Right.
to be able to do an investigative piece in depth in this like this.
Right. I think the skill, you kind of acquire it over time. I mean,
Does it come naturally?
I wish I could say yes, but probably. I would say, I would venture to say, it really comes from just having spent a lot of time, working in the newsroom, working with these guys. I've spent a lot of time, collaborating with them on other stories. I've worked with George before. I've worked with Bill before.
So you get pointers from them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because,
Yeah.
they're the biggest asset in the newsroom.
And what are we looking at here now?
Right here, this is the studio that they have. They have a lot of shows at the Sorensen studio, and we wanted to kind of get a chance to see what are a lot of they allow a lot of artists to do a lot of different things. They have a lot of shows. I wanted to see inside the studio what's since on top of the graffiti issue, they've also had some theft with Mr. Sorensen's art, and so I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to see what's inside and how much of a threat is this kind of increase in crime to that studio.
I want to know what your approach is when you sit down with Mayor Swearingen and Police Chief Dyer, when you are ready to interview them for this story, this story or any story.
Right.
What's your approach? What's your demeanor? How do you do it?
Well, I think the biggest thing is being pretty upfront with them, getting them to understand what are we talking about, what's the real issue at heart.
Is that something you learned at the B?
Yeah, I learned, off the bat, don't try to hide things. I mean, without giving too much away, try to make sure they understand what you're after, what you're trying to get. When I was talking to them, I wanted to make sure they understood exactly what we're looking at. We're looking at understanding how graffiti is affecting a wave of crime. And they were very open to discussing how they would handle it, what the real issues are, how, and how is the city prepared and unprepared to deal with this. And I wanted to make sure that we got all aspects of how the city's handling graffiti.
All right, we're talking with Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee, coming out with a very big story regarding graffiti and crime here in the city of Fresno, coming out shortly in the next week or two. We're going to continue our conversation. 265-4331 is the number. We're going to pause, though, for the Connect With Me Daily Deal with Hector Coronado in just a moment. Don't go away.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the go big, thin as in, flats where it's at place. The HD 3D web-enabled electronics and TV place. You following me?
LG's 50-inch flat panel TV is great for sports, and the 600 hertz subfield driving virtually eliminates motion blur. Get it now for just $5.99.
At the big screen surround sound, no more $12 popcorn place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Howdy, I'm John Wallace, and I'm here to tell you all about me. MeTV, that is. When nothing else matters but boots and chaps and cowboy hats, MeTV is where you ought to be. From the Cartwrights on the Ponderosa to Marshall Dillon keeping peace in Dodge, MeTV is your station for Western hits like Bonanza and Gunsmoke, the Big Valley, Branded, Rawhide, the Wild Wild West, and more. So dust off your boots and saddle up and visit MeTVFresno.com to learn how to get MeTV for free.
Is taking care of laundry taking too much of your time? Have you become a missing mom? With a new, fast, efficient washer and dryer from Ventura TV Video Appliance, you'll spend more of your day the way you want. Save now on Frigidaire's Advanced Affinity Laundry Pair. Let Frigidaire save you energy, water, and time. Don't spend your life on laundry. Upgrade today at Ventura TV Video Appliance and save.
Good morning, folks. I'm Hector Coronado at the Ventura TV showroom floor, and the daily deal of the day today is our side-by-side refrigerator from Frigidaire. This refrigerator has your ice dispenser on the front, and if you can go to the roll there, we'll show you a little bit more. This refrigerator, the energy cost on this unit, unbelievable, is at $5.07 a month. That's a very low energy cost. There is your smudge-proof doors on the stainless, so it's easy to clean with a damp cloth. You've got your pure source filter there at the top. You have 3 adjustable shelves. This refrigerator also carries those shelves that are spill-proof. So if you do spill anything on there, they're very easy to clean. This is a 22.6 foot capacity, so you've got 14.2 capacity in the refrigerator and an 8.3 in the freezer. There's your adjustable bins there, which is your milk door bins. There's your spill-proof shelves there on that unit. It's very easy to clean when you do spill something on there. This refrigerator regular price is $15.99. Our sale price is $12.99, and right now for the Connect Me viewers till tomorrow noon, this refrigerator we're going to have it at $1,049. There's your energy guide there at 549 kilowatts per year. So that puts you at about $5.07 a month in use. There's your 5 indicator button there. You've got your filter, your cube, your crush, your light for your night light. So right now it's at a great value. We're at about a $450 difference from the regular price. This is the daily deal for today till tomorrow for the Connect With Me viewers.
All right, Hector, thank you much. How does Ventura TV do it day in, day out, week in and week out with these competitive prices? They're, I mean, way below the competition.
I think besides the great value that we purchase at and the quantity that we get, I think the sales after the service is the most important thing. When a customer has any type of issues, we take care of those issues, and that's usually the most important thing out there right now is sales after the service.
All right, Hector Coronado.
Service after the sale.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Hector, and have a good day. And we're going to come back with more of our conversation with Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee. 265-4331 is the number. Back in a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified, ready, steam-equipped, high-efficiency Frigidaire Affinity place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Frigidaire laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
From now on, when I sneeze, I'll try to sneeze more friendly.
Welcome back. We're with Alex Tavlian of the Fresno Bee. 265-4331 is the number. He is a writer, of course, and only 20 years old, but doing a terrific job over there, and you're transferring to UC Davis. Let's talk about the crime in Fresno. We know, without even giving any figures, that crime is up this year, and you already know about the haggling between the city and the police as far as the budget is concerned. So what's going on?
You know, this year has been kind of a strange year. We've seen a huge uptick in crime compared to last year, and you know, just from doing this reporting, it's very apparent how much of an increase. You know, just looking at graffiti, the graffiti-related crimes have increased. Homicide, which along with just this one story I work on, I work on, day in day out on crime. Homicides are up compared to last year, almost 10 more than usual. You know, it's been a very tough year for Fresno.
And yet the city wants the police to make concessions.
Right. And, the budgeting tactics, I mean, that's a huge issue, especially considering a lot that's gone on with the police department this year, not only with budgeting, but just in general. They've had a lot of legal issues.
Oh, the lawsuits.
They've had a lot of lawsuits. That's kind of cut into the cost that the city can really conduct business with the police. I mean, the budget issue is a prime issue. And for many people who kind of look back at how Fresno has fought crime, they're going to point to the budget and say that is a way. If we don't put money forward, we're not going to be able to do much to stop crime. I
mean, on the one hand, you're asking a police officer who puts his or her life on the line to take concessions, maybe a pay cut or concessions on benefits or whatever. Right. On the other side of the coin, the city is spending over $800,000 to defend their police chief for a settlement that cost $100,000. Yeah. So it doesn't, it kind of doesn't make sense.
Right, and of course, that lawsuit, of course, was with another,
another police officer.
The other, trying to think of the word here, the chiefs below Chief Dyer, deputy chiefs. That's what
deputy chiefs. Yeah.
And so it seems like a kind of a double standard, and bottom line is, if they want to defend the chief, there's a cost. I hate to say it, if they want to defend the chief, there's a cost.
Everything costs money.
Everything costs money, and there are costs to be assessed overall. The city, it's not like there's not just one line item for everything. The city has to really evaluate, a lot of other costs.
Yeah.
I think that's the bottom line, is that they just have to evaluate those costs.
Now, your story's coming out in the next couple of weeks,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. What are your goals and your aspirations? Well, I already mentioned you're transferring to UC Davis.
Yeah.
Any possibility that you'll continue your journalism career? You're a journalist now.
Right. I've learned a lot about this industry in the 2 years that I've been working in it, and I think that right now there's this huge state of change, and it's not really great for the people who are in it. It's very difficult to survive. It's really survival of the fittest.
What's your major at Davis?
My major, oddly enough, is political science, and a big reason is there isn't a journalism major at Davis. But as I've realized, and I've gotten a lot of advice from current and former journalists, I've learned major in something else, because I've worked long enough. I've got the skills to work.
Obviously,
yeah, I hate
you've
to
got
say
the skills.
So it's good to get some emphasis somewhere else and have some knowledge outside of journalism.
Will you freelance or do some work for the Sacramento Bee? Maybe?
I don't know that. At this point, I'm just thankful I was able to work in Fresno, and if it all comes down to just if there's opportunity, if the doors open, they open. If they don't, I can move on.
And what advice would you give other people that are possibly going to be in your situation? 19, 20 years old, they have goals and aspirations too, like you do. Right. What's your advice to them that want to get into the same line of work?
I would say try and strike out on your own. Try and become a journalist outside of the norm. I mean, the internet is full of huge possibilities for people to do a lot of good work, to bring to light a lot of big issues. A lot of the people who come to the Bee and make huge stories, I look at the Fresno Unified, dropout problem. That is something that came from a Fresno State student. It did not come from one of our own reporters. There are great journalists out there who need to contribute, and I think.
But of course, Heather Somerville, she does a great job.
Oh, she does a fantastic. I love Heather. Yeah. She's the best. She does a lot of great work, but a lot of great writing comes from people who aren't always in the newsroom. They're people who want to get involved, and they're trying to find outlets in traditional media. But there's also non-traditional media that can provide those outlets.
Needless to say, you got a great future ahead of you. I wish I was 20. Have a good time in Davis. Don't
Thank you
get
very
pepper
much, John.
sprayed.
Oh, I'll avoid it as best I can.
Alex Tavlian, the Fresno Bee. He's a great writer, great future ahead. Look for his story in the next couple of weeks regarding crime. See you tomorrow.